He was labeled a masterpiece by 8 million netizens and is considered one of the best Korean horror films in recent years because it is not only based on a true story, but also mixes witchcraft, shaman rituals, ghosts, and other strange folk elements. It feels both cursed and addictive at the same time. In a simple, small village in northern South Korea, a brutal murder suddenly took place. When the police arrived at the scene, they were completely shocked by what they saw. A married couple had been brutally killed. The entire house was flooded with blood, with nowhere even to step. At first, investigation suggested this was not the original crime scene. It looked like the killer had murdered someone elsewhere, then dragged the two victims into this house and let them slowly bleed to death on purpose. From a distance, the whole room looked like a ritual altar. Dry branches were arranged into a perfect circle on the floor, and strange talisman papers were hanging all around the walls. Soon after, Detective Jong-jo found a man outside the house. His eyes were empty and unfocused, his face covered with painful, pus-filled sores. He just sat there staring into the distance, his clothes soaked in blood. Most likely, he was the killer. But what confused everyone was this. Why didn't he run away? Why was he just sitting there waiting to be arrested? Jong-jo felt something was very wrong. He went to discuss the case with his colleague, and what he heard next made everything even more disturbing. Near the forest outside the village, there was a Japanese man living there. One day, a villager went out to chop wood and saw him lying on the ground, eating a dead corpse. Even more terrifying, a series of strange deaths in the village started happening only after this Japanese man appeared. Hearing this, Jong-jo felt a chill run through his body. But before he could react, the office lights suddenly went out, and at the same moment, a naked woman appeared at the door. Both officers were shocked. When they tried to approach her, she suddenly disappeared without a trace. Just then, Jong-jo received an emergency call. A house was on fire. When he arrived at the scene, the only survivor, Kui, suddenly rushed at him like she was possessed. She pinned him to the ground, completely out of control. Luckily, his colleague arrived in time and pulled her away. Still shaken, Jong-jo was sitting on the ground when he suddenly noticed something strange. In the crowd nearby, the same Japanese man was standing there. Unlike the terrified villagers, he looked completely calm, almost like he was quietly enjoying the scene. At first, Jong-jo only found him suspicious, but didn't think too deeply about it. However, he soon realized something horrifying. The woman who tried to strangle him just now, Kui, was the same naked woman who had appeared at the police station earlier. Before he could question her, she was suddenly killed. Later, police investigation suggested Kui's family was not burned to death. They were actually murdered with weapons, not fire. Police suspected that Kui killed her own family and then set the house on fire to hide the truth, and later took her own life out of guilt. After hearing this, Jong-jo started asking villagers for more information. What he found out shocked him even more. Not long ago, Kui had been assaulted by that Japanese man. After that incident, she completely lost her sanity. Every night, she would leave her house naked, wandering outside. Some villagers even claimed they saw her body covered in pus-filled sores. Again, pus-filled sores. Jong-jo immediately thought of the first suspect. Why were both of them covered in the same kind of sores? The sores and the Japanese man. And what exactly is the connection between them? Detective Jong-jo went to discuss this case with another officer, but suddenly a girl named Xiao Li nearby kept throwing stones at them. The officer ignored her and walked away. But after the officer left, Xiao Li approached Jong-jo. She then took him to Kui's burned house. She claimed that she personally witnessed Kui killing her family there. Clearly, Xiao Li was an eyewitness to the crime. Jong-jo immediately called the officer and asked her to come quickly. But when he turned back after the call, Xiao Li was already gone. Jong-jo thought she might still be hiding nearby, so he started searching around. And then he saw something terrifying. The Japanese man, completely naked, lying on the ground and eating a rotting corpse. The man also noticed Jong-jo. Jong-jo got scared and ran for his life, but the Japanese man kept following him step by step. And then suddenly, Jong-jo woke up. He realized everything that just happened was only a dream. But before he could even feel relieved, his wife rushed to him in panic. Their daughter suddenly had a very high fever, but Jong-jo could not focus on that right now. He told his wife to take care of the child. Then he went to a villager named Dong-guo and asked him to take him to find the Japanese man. But on the way up the mountain, they were struck by lightning and had to be sent to the hospital. Jong-jo felt very guilty about it, but while he was apologizing, strange noises suddenly came from a nearby hospital room. He rushed over to check, and he found the first suspect in the couple murder case. The man was shaking uncontrollably, and then suddenly died on the spot. Now both suspects in the case had died mysteriously. Jong-jo felt something was very wrong. He sat alone in the courtyard, thinking about the connection between the two cases. Just then, he heard screams coming from his daughter's room. He rushed inside immediately, and what he saw shocked him. His daughter's condition was exactly the same as the first suspect. Her whole body was shaking uncontrollably. Afraid for her life, Jong-jo increased the pace of his investigation. With the help of villager Dong, he finally found the Japanese man's residence. Inside the room, he discovered a strange altar. At the same time, the police officer found hidden photos of many victims victims inside a secret compartment in another room. But just then, a wild dog in the yard suddenly went crazy. In a critical moment, the Japanese man appeared and stopped the dog. The atmosphere became extremely tense and awkward. The Japanese man clearly realized that they had discovered his secret, but instead of attacking them, he told them to leave immediately. While they were driving back, the officer nervously revealed what she had seen in the hidden compartment. Then she took out Jongju's daughter's shoe. She said it was found inside that secret space. At that moment, Jongju realized something horrifying. His daughter was the next target of the Japanese man. He rushed back home immediately and asked his daughter if she had lost one of her shoes. But the daughter responded very calmly, and then suddenly she started cursing her father in a completely rude and aggressive way. This shocked Jongju deeply. In his memory, his daughter was always gentle and well-behaved and would never speak like this. To understand what was happening, he secretly entered her room while she was asleep, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Her leg was covered with large pus-filled sores. Fearing for his daughter's life, Jongju and Ah Dong went back to the Japanese man again. They threatened him to leave the village immediately. "Do not hurt my daughter." After saying this, he smashed the ritual altar in the house with an axe, but in the very next second, the wild dog broke free from its chain and attacked Jongju. To protect himself, he had no choice but to kill the dog. But before he could even breathe in relief when he returned home, he suddenly felt half of his body go paralyzed, and the dead dog he had just killed was now hanging at his own front door. His wife turned pale with fear. Just then, terrifying screams came from the neighbor's yard. Jongju and his wife rushed over immediately. They discovered that an old neighbor woman had been brutally killed inside her home. At the same time, his daughter was seen crouching in a corner, confused and helpless, collecting weapons. Jongju realized everything was being controlled by the Japanese man, but before arresting him, there was something far more important. He had to save his daughter. Jongju went to a famous local exorcist. After examining his daughter's condition, the exorcist suddenly started whistling and ran outside. Jongju quickly followed him. Under the exorcist's instructions, they brought a large water tank into the yard. The exorcist then reacted in shock, saying that this was no ordinary case. After understanding the situation, he began an exorcism ritual. When the ritual ended, Jongju's daughter fainted. The exorcist then asked Jongju if he had recently come into contact with anything unclean or cursed, because in his judgment, the reason the daughter was possessed was that Jongju had brought an evil spirit back with him. That spirit had entered his daughter's body. Jongju thought carefully and realized the only place it could have come from was the Japanese man's house, because he had destroyed a ritual altar there. Luckily, the exorcist agreed to help save the girl. As night fell, the exorcist began a remote spiritual battle against the Japanese man. While both were performing rituals in their own locations, the girl suddenly started shaking violently. Then she let out a terrifying scream. The exorcist did not stop. He was determined to destroy the Japanese man's power completely, and it seemed like the Japanese man was losing. After a while, the struggle stopped, but the girl was now at the edge of death. She begged her father to stop the ritual. Unable to bear her suffering, Jongju rushed in and destroyed the altar. This allowed the Japanese man to survive. After the exorcist left, Jongju decided to take matters into his own hands. He gathered a few friends and went to the Japanese man's house with weapons, but the Japanese man was already gone. At that moment, a terrifying man walked down from the mountain. Jongju recognized him as Ah Wei, a man who had gone missing days ago, but now he looked completely inhuman. It was later revealed that Ah Wei had brutally killed his own wife days earlier and then disappeared. Everyone thought he would die like the previous suspects, but instead, he transformed into something between human and monster, and now he was charging straight at Jongju. Everyone quickly picked up weapons and attacked him, but something strange happened. Ah Wei felt no pain at all. Even after being hit repeatedly, he kept moving forward, and once again, his target was Jongju. Jongju stood frozen in a corner, unable to move. At the critical moment, Ah Wei suddenly fell to the ground and passed out. It turned out that everything happened because of the Japanese man. He had used black magic to turn Ah Wei into a living dead creature. He originally expected Ah Wei to kill Jongju and the others for him, but at the most important moment, the plan failed. Now that the danger was gone, Jongju immediately started searching for the Japanese man. But what he didn't know was that the Japanese man was also secretly watching everything happening with Ah Wei. Jongju quickly gathered everyone and chased after him, but when they reached a cliff, the Japanese man had already disappeared again. Jongju broke down in tears. He just wanted to find the Japanese man and make him spare his daughter. Meanwhile, the Japanese man was hiding under cover nearby, not moving at all. He was scared that Jongju and the others would find him, but when he turned his head, he suddenly saw Xiao Li again in the distance. For some unknown reason, the Japanese man started chasing after Xiao Li, and in the next moment, he was hit by Jongju's car while returning home. To hide everything, Jongju threw the Japanese man's body off a cliff. After that, he went to the hospital to check on his daughter. Fortunately, his daughter had returned to normal. At first, first, Jongju thought all the strange events in the village would end with the Japanese man's death. But reality was different, because another person suddenly killed his own wife brutally, and that person was Jongju's colleague. Realizing that the true evil spirit might be someone else, the exorcist decided to go find Jongju and tell him the truth. But when he arrived at Jongju's house, he saw Xiaoli standing at the door. Just one look at her, and the exorcist started vomiting uncontrollably. To save his life, the exorcist decided to leave the village forever. But on the road, while escaping, dozens of moths suddenly crashed into his car window. He quickly stopped the car and ran out in panic. But when he looked back, there was nothing on the windshield. He realized even if he left the village, he still couldn't escape Xiaoli's curse. So the exorcist decided to join hands with Jongju to fight her. He immediately called Jongju and told him that everything was Xiaoli's doing. He told him to return home immediately because Xiaoli had been seen at his house. She might target his daughter next. Jongju rushed back home without hesitation, but his daughter was gone. He immediately ran out to search for her, but Xiaoli suddenly stopped him. She told Jongju that just moments ago, his daughter had already returned home. Then she warned him, until she captures the Japanese man, he must not go home. Otherwise, his entire family will die. Jongju didn't believe her. He had already thrown the Japanese man off a cliff. How could he still be alive? Xiaoli calmly explained the Japanese man was an evil spirit with the power of rebirth. Only if she captures him can he be destroyed completely. Jongju didn't know what to believe anymore. Just then, the exorcist called him again and told him to immediately go back home and check. After thinking for a while, Jongju decided to trust the exorcist, but the moment he arrived home, Xiaoli's warning came true. His wife and mother-in-law were both brutally killed inside the house, and his daughter, who was the killer, stood in the distance, silently watching everything. At that moment, Jongju finally realized the truth. The Japanese man was the real evil spirit, and Xiaoli was actually trying to protect the villagers, but no one believed her. She had already lost all hope in humans. Meanwhile, the exorcist had secretly entered Jongju's house. He took photos of the dead bodies. This revealed a shocking truth. The exorcist and the Japanese man were actually working together. The photos in the hidden compartment were also taken by him. They were partners in crime. The exorcist's goal was money and profit. Before casting the spell on the girl, he had demanded a large sum of money from Jongju. The Japanese man's goal was killing. Murder was his hobby, and taking photos was his obsession. In reality, everything was a trap planned by both of them. But the tragedy was, Jongju had many chances to change fate, but he trusted the wrong side. And in the end, he ended up destroying his own family with his own hands. And that's where the story ends. See you in the next episode.